Cricket has always been passionate and emotional, but obviously, we have to make sure that it's actually channeled in the right way. Sometimes, emotions, and particularly when you're involved in a competition, actually you can go overboard, and we've seen that in sport. I first came to this club. This is fairly local to where I live, and my son, who was 9 years old at the time, and obviously I wanted him to play cricket, and he tried his hand at other sports, football, rugby union, and so on. But obviously I was passionate about cricket, so I brought him here, hoping that they would have a junior team. But unfortunately I got told that they didn't have a junior team, but if I wanted to start a junior team, I was welcome to do it. So yeah, I along with another friend, we started our first team in 2002. And here we are now, some 20 odd years later, and we've got 13, 14 teams. And not only that, they've left me to do everything else as well. So all those people that were running the club, they've now gone, and I've ended up looking after the ground as a groundsman and everything else here as well.
Yorkshire में क्रिकेट का प्रेजेंस काफ़ी prevalent है. For decades now, the Pakistani diaspora have longed for a place in society within this particular sport. The journey to creating a cricket club or league which recognises the talent of British Pakistanis is not one that has come easy to them. Having faced years of racial discrimination and prejudice within the sport's premise, they have come quite a long way. A thriving inner city junior club, Bradford mein, is considered a game-changing cricket club for its community outreach that stretches far beyond the game. Hum yahan Great Horton Church Cricket Club mein hai, and we've come to speak to the man who's inspiring the youth of junior cricketers.
The first generation first arrived in this country from the Indian subcontinent. Obviously we came over in the 60s and early 70s and so on, and we arrived with the view that we were going to come here and make lots of money and then go back home, rich people. But obviously as time went on, we gradually realised that people started to sort of settle here. We actually realised that maybe we're not actually going to go back, and gradually we started bringing the regional men who came here. They started bringing their families over here as well, and with that, once you got your families here, we started looking at our sort of leisure life. And of course, particularly for young men who came here, the first generation, the most important thing to us was the Bollywood movies and of course cricket, because we were all, cricket was very much in our blood, and that's really where cricket started. And initially, of course, we were very much denied access to any formal cricket in terms of clubs and leagues and so on. So we started forming our own small clubs and small teams, and started playing with our own friends in the local parks and so on. And that's where it really started, the informal side of cricket, because obviously racism at the time was very much in your face. You were told in no uncertain terms who you are, and you didn't belong here. Later on in the 70s and in the 80s, we started fighting back. We actually realised that we are here to stay, and I think, we want to be part of the life here. And to a certain extent, we started fighting back against the National Front and the other organisations that existed. And we started organising as a community as well. And we formed the very first Asian cricket league in the country, which was the Quaid-e-Azam Sunday Cricket League, was formed in 1980. That was as a result of, again, being denied access to mainstream leagues. A club like this, for example, only 20 years ago, this would have been an all-white club. 30 years ago, even, it would have been an all-white club. But now, if you come here, it's all Asian. And we were producing our own coaches, our own umpires, administrators, ground people who look after the ground, and so on. So all our volunteers were from the Asian community, and we became more or less part of the mainstream. And particularly when we started producing players like Adil Rashid and Ajmal Shahzad, who wanted to play for Yorkshire and England. So we started producing players as well. Since I first got involved in the sport of cricket, which has been over 40 years now since I first got involved. And clearly, I've seen a lot of changes that happen, and a lot of those changes have been better, but obviously there's still a long way to go in terms of inclusion. And I've always been passionate about, particularly young people, be more active in sports, whether it's cricket or football or any other activity that they happen to enjoy. So people of my generation will know Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, whether it's Sachin Tendulkar, and all those people. They're our heroes, and that's changed our attitudes towards sport. And we want our children, our boys and girls, to actually grow up and have the same enjoyment that we've had through sport. And we've actually started encouraging our young people. And we see, particularly here at a club like ours, where we organise a lot of junior activities, junior cricket, that a lot of the parents will actually spend a lot of time bringing their children to the cricket matches, sit around, support them, taking them around, all the travelling they have to do. So they've dedicated a lot of time to make sure that their children get the enjoyment of sport, and hopefully one day they might actually go on to make it into the professional level as well. So that's a huge change that we've seen over the last few years, within our own community.